Hey, it's day 96 of 365 days of my raw suspending disbelief journey. It is July 27th, 2024. And today was today was Saturday. So Saturdays again are my kid focused day, like 100%. Don't turn the screens on. Don't be, working at all. And and focus on just the home and the kids and maybe if we have an activity that we have planned or whatever, but um just focusing on that stuff. So today we spent a lot of time decluttering and cleaning and reorganizing. It started with our craft supplies, which with the kids being home for the summer have just gotten to be this disaster zone that was stressing me out, that was messy, that they couldn't really clean up because there was so much of it, that it didn't really have like a good organizational setup for them so that they could quickly clean it up and put things where they go and all of that. So we started out there, and then that just led to, cleaning up the floors underneath the area where all the mess had been, and then continuing on sort of around the whole space, and did the dining room and did the living room and did, just all of these things, and got some things set up that were waiting to be set up, and dug out some stuff that I didn't even know we still had, and got rid of it, all of these things that just refresh the energy in our home, that clean up the mental load for me as mom, that right, all of these things, and then just spending time with the kids, and actually, it's funny because a lot of that cleaning time is time that I would say was quality time spent with the kids. And that's not because I don't ever want to do fun things with them, but it's just, they love having a spray bottle and a cloth and going around and scrubbing stuff. Like, they're so proud of themselves as they go. And and I mean, this is my younger two that I'm specifically speaking about. My oldest was like this when she was younger. But it's, when we make it a joint effort, it still gets to be family quality time, even when it's cleaning, even when it's chores, right? And actually, to me, it's one of my biggest values, that I think that my kids, like, I want to raise my kids knowing that that is quality time, that it is okay to not spend money, waste time, or just be on screens, or just be, have to have some sort of big event planned or something going on, that we can spend time together doing anything, and that it's quality time, whether that's cleaning, playing games, doing crafts, like whatever the case may be. And we did also do like, we spent some time painting, and we all painted different pictures, and um I just love, like, when everybody's in sort of this mood of, like, we haven't been on screens all day. Everybody's taking care of their physical needs, and the house is clean, and the energy feels bright and light and clear and all of that. My kids are just amazing. Like, when we're like that and we're all sort of sitting around, my youngest will look over and be like, "Oh, wow, brother, you're doing such a good job on this." And and she's so encouraging. And then my son will look and be like, "How do you know how to paint like that, Cadence?" To my oldest. And it's just like, the energy is so very different, right? Than what it can be, especially when we fall into the trap of, like I was saying, n- not yesterday, but the day before. Sorry, I had to think there. Where I had the realization that I was pushing my kids away, that I was not taking responsibility to take my self care time, take my time alone before they get up, so that I'm available to be present with them. And when I am present with them, things are more pleasant with them, right? Like everybody gets along better. The house feels amazing. The energy feels amazing. And I then don't feel that desperate need to be alone all the time where I'm like, please go away, please go away, please go away, because they're just driving me crazy and they're under my feet and they're, you know, an extra irritation and all of these things, instead of my incredible, wonderful, loving children who really are amazing. You know, they're so sweet and they're so loving and they're so um they're really so willing to help and to be a team and all of that when they've had their needs met, when they've had their buckets filled, right? When I've taken the time to fill my bucket and then overflow into theirs until their buckets are full and then we're all doing stuff together, it is magical. And it's something that I would never trade. And so you would think that knowing that and having experienced it so many times that I would never fall off that wagon and get back into that rut, but I do, and we all do. And it's just, I love watching the shift and how quickly it can happen. Um, the last night we spent a little bit too much time watching stuff together, right? We watched Wish and then we watched part of Tarzan and just, and then the kids wanted to play their games and I hadn't let them play their games all day. So I was like, okay, you can play your games for a little bit and then we're going to get ready for bed, all of these things. But waking up in the morning, their first reaction, because that was before bed, is that they want to be on their screens. They want, like, we want to play our games. We want to watch a show. We wanted this. We wanted that. And they're demanding and miserable and whatever. And if I didn't take the time to fill my cup and then fill their cups and just be present with them and hold that ground while they're getting their cups filled and they still think that what they want is screens, we would never arrive to the other side of that, where all of a sudden they forget that screens exist and we're painting for hours and doing crafts. And, they started building birdhouses and all of these things while I continued on, like, completely revamping our living space, because that's me. Just, I sort of lost track of what I was saying. Sorry. But the point just being that when we take that time, it's a complete shift, and it is a very fast shift from, um, like I said, from movie night, like from the day of everything sort of being chaotic and the day where I allow more screens and all of that stuff, to then the day where they forgot about and did not get screens until, and not as a punishment, not as a, they did something bad so they didn't get it kind of a thing. But just as a, that's not what we're doing right now, focus. That they went until 7 p.m. at night or 6 p.m. at night with no screens. Um, and then I put on a show for a little bit while I got kind of cleaned up and ready to take them over to their dads and all of this stuff. And even then I didn't need to. Um, but they were getting tired, right? We had really used up our energy well that day, and they were just ready to sort of lie down and chill out and veg out a little bit. And that's okay too. Especially once all of the other boxes have been checked, once the cups have been filled and the needs have been met and all of that. And it just, all around, it just felt amazing. And then actually I came back home from dropping them off and I finished watching the show I put on for them, because I put on Beauty and the Beast. It's like my favorite Disney movie. So I sat and I watched it, like the old school one, the one from when I was a kid. And right near the end, when the Beast was turning back into himself and all of this stuff, My brother called to let me know that he had proposed to his girlfriend and that they were now engaged, and like all of these things, and just it just ended up being such a beautiful, amazing, exciting day. Um and I did no work whatsoever. And it still felt perfect. It felt like, yep, I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. I'm doing exactly what I'm supposed to be doing. And and then just finished off the night. My oldest and I have been watching the Gilmore Girls Year in the Life, so we finished that off and just hung out and had popcorn and just chilled, and it was perfect. And my cup feels like it's running over versus the last several days where it was a struggle. So loving this starting point for tomorrow morning. And that's what I have for you guys today. So I hope that you are all doing well, that you are continuing to suspend disbelief in your own ways. And I'll talk to you all tomorrow.